And we as human beings, as black men in particular, we reserve the right to our self-preservation and our self-defense. And so that's why we adopt this particular stance. We are sending a message to any potential aggressor: don't go there. We do not turn the other cheek. If you slap my cheek, I will kick all 4 of your cheeks. This is how we roll. We are tired as black people of people treating us as their beating sticks. We make no apology as black men for standing firm for our human rights. This is what we're about. We believe in justice.
Peace and power. Once again, this is the Panther 48. This is Brother Sight calling out of Texas. I'm the official chief of staff for the Panther 48. I have Brother War calling out of California.
All power to the people, y'all. This is Brother War, Sherman Panther 48. That's what they call me.
And I have Brother E calling out of Florida.
Peace and blessings, family.
And I'm going to tell you what the Panther 48 is and what the Panther 48 is not. The Panther 48 is not another Panther faction. The Panther 48 is not a boots on the ground Panther organization. The Panther 48 is a group of longtime revolutionaries who have decided to catalog and categorize revolutionary information, history, and platforms and formats for future generations to continue to build on. And today, we have another special guest to continue with what we've been doing. We have a special guest calling out of Atlanta, Georgia. We have the brother and the chairman of the People's Black Panther Party, Brother Yanga Nkrumah.
Peace up. Peace, man. All power is to oppressed people, African power to an African people, and black power. Man, I'm honored, man. It really is a privilege to be on here.
All right. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you for coming on. So I guess we're going to get right to it. I want to ask you, tell the listening audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you, how you came up, and what led you into the movement?
All right. Absolutely, man. I go by Yanga Nkrumah now. Prior to going by Yanga, I went by Ibrahim, or my name is Ibrahim Ibn Abdul Kahar. I am the son of what's referred to as the original Panther Party, of an original Panther, Abdul Kahar, Chairman Abdul Kahar, formerly known as Brother Benjamin Simmons of the Louisville seven Black Panthers that were accused of robbing the Kentucky Derby. So, coming up in the household, my mother is Ife Imowalamu. She formerly was. Now, she's remarried, went through the whole thing. I haven't asked her permission to give her name, so I won't give it. So, just came up in the Panther house, in a Panther household ideologically, but no different from any other household like any Black African here in America went through, affected by the crack epidemic, economic repression, everything that every other people went through. I think one of the difference was, though, from an early age, political education was a must in my household. So I assessed the problem a little differently than the homies. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically about me. And from that, I'm being very brief, and I'm touching on some things. Let me see. Got into street life. That led to incarceration. I think incarceration was my first, growing up in a Panther household, I heard it. You know what I'm saying? I heard it, but when I was incarcerated, I began to understand it. It really sunk in. And then when I came home, being part of the disenfranchised and the marginalized, I still get it. And I understand the need for revolution. So I said, man, all of this must be, divine. It must have been part of my destiny, because I understood what was going on from a political aspect, but to be affected by it directly just inspired me and motivated me more to want to get in there and participate in the changing of things and to really be a part of the movement. So naturally, I followed my legacy and got in the Panther Party. I'm gonna say I was convinced to join the new Black Panther Party under my father, who was then the chairman of the Cleveland, Ohio chapter of the new Black Panther Party. And that was my intro, I would say my formally getting into a Panther formation was the new Black Panther Party. Yeah.
So basically you said that you wasn't, even though you grew up in a Panther household, you actually didn't get it off the top. You had to go to the streets and then go to prison, and then that woke that fire up in you.
That's the only way you get it, man. I think a lot of people romanticize growing up a cub. You know, you don't get the books. He wasn't handing me George Jackson and stuff. You get it through everyday, you get the everyday politics through just the practical experiences. And yeah, you get to study, because my father stayed very active in the movement. So I had to study time, but it's only theory. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's like being a preacher's kid. You hear it all the time, Black people this, Black people that. But you know, the preacher kids are some of the most rebellious. So I had to get in them streets. You know, when I got in the streets and began to see, you know, I saw it, but it was the allure of the streets. It was no breaks, and I was young. But it was when they slowed me, when they slammed me, and I saw repression up close, especially in Georgia. I went to penitentiary in Georgia. So coming from the Midwest, you know, to the South and seeing it directly like that, racism blatant, you know what I'm saying? Neo-colonialism, where these Negroes, I was in Atlanta, so I was under the illusion that it was actually Black owned and it was just really Black operated. And I saw neo-colonialism firsthand. I saw Black faces in white places. And I knew these words and phrases, but I never knew what they meant until actually I came face to face with it. And so, like I said, that's when that fire jumped in me. I was like, man, I can't believe I participated in this. This is what Pops was talking about, you know?
Yeah. So about how old were you when you would say that you decided to be a part of the struggle?
I think I was probably close to my joining a formation, you mean? Or
yes.
In a formation, probably close to my 30s, because when I came home at 20-something, I went in at 17. I came home like 24. And when I came home, I had the whole religious experience. So I had joined the group. It's called the Dawah de Salafiyah. So I was this extreme Islamic. So that was going to be the change for me. And I thought that would change the world. And through living in, I did that for like 15, 16 years and began to see the contradictions in Arab supremacy and culture. No diss on Islam, just the very Arabization of Black people and the encouragement of lack of participation, political participation in where they lived. I said, man, it just went against the nature of who I was as a human being and how I was raised. So went back to Cleveland, hooked back up with my father, because at this time I was so fanatic in my belief that I had stopped speaking to my Abu. And he's a Muslim. I was raised a Muslim, but he wasn't as extreme a Muslim as I was. You know what I'm saying? So he and I had stopped speaking. And so I went back up, lost, and looking for guidance. One of the things I do praise the Creator for is giving me a father and a father figure. You know, when I hit that manhood and I was out there, when I exhausted every measure and realized I didn't know anything, even though me and this cat disagreed coming up, I went different ways to be able to have another man that had my best interests at heart, because I'm his offspring, to really rap to me and tell me what it was, man, just lifted a burden off of me. And I just seen it and I said, so what are you doing? And he's like, I'm in the new Black Panther Party. And he and I argued. We went at it. I went in. I think that's what re-sparked my revolutionary fervor, because, man, I was like, man, are you for real? And, you know, I'm not going to repeat all the things. We went back and forth. But one of the things he hit me with, he was like, you know, so you born in this thing and you raising it. So don't you have a responsibility to make sure that it maintains its integrity and to teach it? Why are you going to run from a group that's holding on to a part of your legacy. So he influenced me and swayed me enough to get in, and I got in up under him. And so he was the chairperson of Cleveland, Ohio, and that's where I got my legs wet. Now, mind you, when I moved to Atlanta and began to run my own chapter, I think my father, he ran it so much like the third development, so much like the original Panthers, as they're commonly referred to, that he created an umbrella for us. And so I didn't know how ugly things really were until I got from out of the umbrella of Cleveland, Ohio, and went to Atlanta, Georgia, with inter-party strife.
So, well, I got all kind of questions I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna pass it to Brother Wall, because Brother Wall has a format that he would like to go about, and I'm sure he gonna touch some of these questions, because you're catching my interest on this when you talk about leaving that umbrella, and I want to know what you saw in Atlanta. But I'm gonna let Brother Wall come on right quick.
All right, well,
let me ask you this, because you referenced one thing about the third development. Can you elaborate on what you mean by Bobby and Huey, or the so-called originals, with the Black Panther Party for self-defense being the third development?
Okay, absolutely. The third development, we teach the Panthers in formations. We understand that the first development or the first formation of the Black Panther Party, the concept of the Black Panther Party started with Fannie Lou Hamer and with the Democratic Freedom Party and the Lowndes County Freedom Organization, the LCFO. They were a political party. When the Democrats were flushing Black people out and not accepting Black people, when the Republicans were doing the same, these people took it upon themselves to embark on empowering us through political power. And they understood the importance of self-defense. And so they were aided and assisted in many cases and instances by Robert Williams, Deacon of Defense. So they had armed defense. So they were known as the first armed political party. And they can't leave out what is so critical. Their emblem was the Black Panther. So they were known as the Black Panther Party. We call that the first development of the Black Panther Party. The second development came in New York City. This development, that was in 1965. In 1966, in New York City, another Black Panther Party development arose, working with Lowndes County freedom organizers and SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And I hope our people on here listening, so they should know what SNCC and stuff is. So I'm not going to always go through the whatchamacallit. So they work with it, establish the second development in New York City. And they were very instrumental and critical in changing the curriculum, the New York City school program and things of that nature. They're again trying to empower people through education and also political empowerment. And thirdly, which is the more famous known, what is more commonly referred to as the original, we call it the third development, as founded by Dr. Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seals in Oakland, California. I believe, what was it, October 15, 1966, I believe it was. And they added the self-defense on it. So those are the three developments, or three formations. We recognize Aaron Michaels as being the fourth development of the Black Panther Party, Black Panther movement as a revolutionary organization participating in liberation movement in America. So the fourth development, and how we would chronicleize this, Aaron Michaels would be the fourth development.
Okay, gotcha. I think that's important, because a lot of people, when they refer back and they think about the Black Panther Party, and a lot of old heads even refer to as Bobby and Huey as being the original. And the younger generation picks up with that same mentality oftentimes and just doesn't know the legacy and the history. And I think that's really important, especially going back to the Lowndes County thing, because I think with the current generations, a lot of times the ideal of the party aspect has fell off. So with that being said, let me ask you, with the founding of the People's Black Panther Party for self-determination, what is defined in your words as a chairman, explain self-determination and why is that so important?
All right. And when we analyze the move, we realized that one of our biggest problems was just the inability to reach our highest, fullest human potential. And the only way to do that is to be free from a people who don't have your best interests at heart. So self-determination is saying this, that we must control the institutions, the social, cultural understanding, the morals, the ethics, the mores. We have to control them totally. We have to defy them, and they should be what are in the best interest of us as a people, Black Africans here in America, and that will serve the greater interest of us internationally throughout the diaspora. That's it, doing for self. That's as plain as I can make it. We really have to begin to do for self. And when we say that, that's cool in a base slogan, but doing for self starts to be, we have to begin to analyze our actions and our practices. Are we acting contrary to self? And then it raises the question, what are we calling self? You know what I'm saying? And so all of these questions come from that. But that's basically what it is. It is first just overall the desire, and prayerfully we hope to push and motivate people to want to do for self.
So coming off the back of that concept, why do you think it's so hard for people to grasp self-determination as a solution?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Did you hear the question?
No, half of it. Could you repeat it?
Okay. I said, knowing that self-determination is the key, why do you think that's so hard of a concept for the people to grasp as a solution?
I think like my chief of staff told me one time, we have a domestic mind state. We're domesticated people. We really just have the herd mind state.
You're muted.
We have been enslaved. And then after the so-called physical freedom, chattel slavery ended, we were already, so that domestication process had begun mentally. And then we just became, when they had taken that way, the desire for independence, or when even the concept of freedom or independence was taken away from them, we just became complacent. It really is that simple. If you can keep the people dancing and singing and oversaturated, just in consumed with the world, man, what is freedom? Does it get any freer than this? And that's why I think that it's difficult, and I hope I'm not being too laymanish, but it just really is that simple. The freedom doesn't have an allure or an appeal, even when we push and promote it. Even when we push and promote it, we talk about the struggle. I'm gonna be real with you, this and that. There is no, to a degree, as like I practice principles of Nkrumahs. And one of the things in Nkrumahs is the relativeness of religion and revolution, spirituality. So even if some ideas to a degree contain some utopic elements, not romanticism, not fantasy, but utopic elements that encourage hope in the people, then I think that should be promoted. I think that our propaganda sucks. Our propaganda sucks. I really see the neo-colonialism in it. Too much trying to compete, too much of this macho machismo shit. Stuff, excuse my language, stuff, But I think that's why it's hard to get. When you talk about freedom, we present it for what it is. It is work, but I don't think the hereafter of freedom is really pushed. you know.
Got it. So I would say when you say that, a lot of times when people think of the concept freedom, they think of basically being able to make a choice, but they don't think of the obligation that goes with now that you have the requirement to build the world around you, really what you're asking for.
Yep.
And so with that, tell me some of the founding principles of the People's Black Panther Party for self-determination.
Absolutely. One of the founding principles is race first. First of all, the primacy of Africa and African people. That we understand that the People's Black Panther Party for self-determination, that it truly is about the continuation of us as a people, that we shouldn't be ashamed to put ourselves absolutely first in our thoughts, in our actions, that we should desire that Africa be free, the inner exploitation of Africa, but in order to free Africa, we had to free ourselves. You know, so just we push that an African consciousness and awareness of everything we do, the primacy of Africa in identity, in consciousness, in action. Secondly, we are an egalitarian, a humanitarian, and an eco-friendly organization. We do believe in the human sanctity. We believe in the rights of all human peoples to exist. We believe in the rights of all human people to exist unencumbered, unhindered, to be able to reach their highest, fullest potential. We believe in that right more so for the race that we belong to, Black people. We challenge the other races. We say that if you truly believe in egalitarianism, if you truly are equal, then your fight should be to undo what has kept the Black man first and foremost, and then every other oppressed people disadvantaged for hundreds and hundreds of years. You have the machines and the institutions that your people have built to exploit and rape the masses of people, but then you're asking them a lot, because then you're asking them to change their lifestyles. So we do believe in egalitarianism. We don't want to get control. So like when I say, people say, oh, the primacy of Africa, you believe in supremacy? Yeah, I believe that I should feel superior, I should feel good, but from an African concept, from the concept of responsibility and obligation. That's the way that I believe that primacy over the earth. We have obligation and responsibility that goes into that echo, the climate, the earth. You know, I believe that the People Black Panther Party, if it isn't out there, People Black Panther Party members are listening, start your recycling. There's no way you should have a recycle bin. You have to protect the earth. I said humanitarianism, believing in the people's highest, fullest potential. We are definitely Black nationalists, Pan-Africanists. I believe that Black people here have to begin, like we must do Pan-Africanism on what they call it, a microcosm, before we really could grasp the concept fully on a macrocosm. We have to start doing it on small scale. Let us start the United States. Let us start our institutions and our organizations begin to unify and get supply lines and the things that we need to build an infrastructure for a Black nation here. It can be done. There's a million organizations doing. We just have to agree on an ideology. You know what I'm saying? So Black nationalism, I believe, is the ideology that we can all agree on. Not getting into the semantics, but when I say Black, I'm not talking about, oh, we're this, we're African. I'm talking about Black as an experience for people here in America. If you fit a certain phenotype, or if you look a certain way, they put you in a category and they treat you how they want to treat you. I'm saying Black as an experience. And like I spoke on earlier, we believe in the relevance of religion and revolution. Spirituality and revolution. We believe that as African people, we're spiritual people. We see that spirituality, a lot of times, I think, give under the guise of religion. So it's when we read it in the history books, we read religion, but spirituality has been a very big factor and guiding force in our liberation struggle. I think that's, if I had to lend a critique to the third development under Dr. Newton and Bobby Seals, it would be to the strict following of Marxist-Leninist understanding and the absolution of religion, or getting away with spirituality and getting to this agnostic atheist thing so fully that they would even encourage people to really not hold to certain practices. And I think that without those moral and ethics, that African people can be very dangerous. You know, I think it's a tie to their ancestors. So those are some of just the guiding principles.
Kind of going back to what you started out with, talking about growing up in a Panther household with both parents being within the party. I do want to emphasize a little bit more and get a little bit more out of that, because I want to say that it's not often at all that you have people that are now involved in the movement that came up from a household where you had both parents members. So how did that affect your worldview? Even though you know, like you said, you still hit the streets as a youth, you went through that trial, but still, from a world perspective, how did that impact you?
You know, yeah, man, you don't know the impact. I think you don't know the impact until two things had to happen. One, I had to sit back and mature and look back on my life. I have a habit. I keep a journal. And it's something I picked up, you know what I'm saying, like when I was down. So, and I look back over some things. And then secondly, being put, like you said, being thrown in that contrast. So let me answer the question. How did it impact me?
In your worldview.
Yeah, in my worldview. That's a good question.
And I say that from the perspective, let me elaborate.
I
say that from the perspective, and it may just kind of be that you took it for granted because you just knew this, but a lot of people don't get exposure to the aspect of everything is politics and politics is everything until they find themselves recognizing just how deep oppression runs. It's one thing to recognize oppression and the racism, but once it starts slapping you in the face, that's typically what makes a lot of people get involved in the movement. But growing up, I would think growing up in a position, and this is me on the outside looking in, because I was not raised with a politically conscious family. Growing up on the outside looking in, it's like you find yourself in your early mid 20s, late 20s and 30s, you know, all of a sudden being bombarded with all these types of information that you need to learn and you need to digest, and then you had this grand awakening of just how much you don't know. And a lot of people that have stepped into the movement have to oftentimes be re-educated in terms of their worldview and their world perspective. And that in itself becomes a process as young Panthers come on board, getting exposed to the movement as they're getting into positions of leadership and positions of empowerment within that. Because oftentimes they jump into this with the willingness to want to lead and the willingness to want to participate, but they don't recognize that they don't have the knowledge. And so you growing up in a household to where this was just part of your dynamic. Once you did join, start waking up and realizing the importance of that knowledge and stuff you had, how did you see yourself in retrospect to other people's view within your age group?
You know what? I felt like odd man out. You know, I felt the odd man out because what I was raised under, it was a hodgepodge of everything. I think like a lot of Cubs, and maybe that's why you don't find Cubs in really anything. It wasn't traditional Islam. So, I really didn't fit in with the traditional Muslims. It wasn't what these people are calling cultural today. So I did, with the beating of the drums and just the dashikis, it had elements and aspects of that, but it wasn't a cultural nationalism, so I didn't fit in there. And the revolutionary, Black nationalist revolutionary political circle is very small. Without it, and to keep it pure and maintain its integrity, you become a leper at times. When I got in the formation and, there's one of the troubles I ran into when I when I got Atlanta, became the chairman of Atlanta, was that I understood that the Panther Party is a political defense party and not the other way around. It's not the security force. It's not the defense mechanism. You know, it wasn't, I refused to allow it to be the Junior Nation of Islam and these other, I thought at the time, derogatory, slanderous terms that we were being referred to. I operated as a political defense party with the idea of training cadres and hopefully, prayerfully introducing the masses to the political process that would make them conscious citizens of the Republic of New Africa. That was my mindset. And like I said, that circle is very small. And my methods were unconventional because I didn't come to the intelligentsia. I didn't come to Atlanta and hit the typical knowns and hang out at Morris Brown and Spelman. I went to the hood and I began to politicize the hood, the street soldiers. I relied on and leaned back on my affiliation, you know what I'm saying, with Crippen. And so I went there to the hood and started to politicize the homeboys and show them that, you know, just following the trend of Huey and where he was inspired by Fanon, that the lumpen can be a powerhouse when you politicize it, you know. And so that was my whole thing, man. And so that's how I came here in Atlanta. And I think, and you know, this, I'm not putting out there to be funny, but I think since I didn't have a party of, at the time I felt like kiss asses, you know, my party wasn't really one of the most favored parties.
So speaking on that, go into when you first joined the new Black Panther Party, your outlook and your view, because you're kind of covering that in terms of the national directive. I want you to actually elaborate, because it kind of sounds like you faced some of the same stipulations that we did in Dallas when we was dealing with the foundation of the new Black Panther Party versus how things had started spreading across the nation. So what were your views of the new Black Panther Party as you became into position, and what did you see?
When I entered, as you know, man, I believe in local autonomy. So when I entered, that was pushed heavily. So I was under, like I said, the umbrella of Chairman Kahar. I was really in a bubble. I was oblivious to a lot, you know, to a lot of things that was just happening outside of Cleveland. And being under Chairman Kahar, and I think a little bit being his son, really added the pressure on me, because he would always say that. I'd be like, oh man, I'm working this and that. I can't keep doing, they're not going to holler nepotism on me. That would be his thing. So under Chairman Kahar, I had the privilege and misfortune to serve in every position. I mean, I did it all. And I got the game, and it was cool. Then when I got noticed a little bit and I got noticed by our regional chairperson at a convention that Cleveland had thrown for their region. And I got a promotion and things of that nature, is when I began to see the difference. And man, you go? You go. Okay. I'm about to leave right now. Okay, peace. Come out the door. The door open. Okay. So just close it, brother. Pardon the body. So I got to see a few more things. And one of the things, like I said, I was here, we had the papers and stuff, but I really didn't make it my concern. I think when I got a little more national and just saw the disarray, that's when I just became disillusioned, because I always thought, I said, okay, you know what? If we have a few good chapters, if we really adhere to this revolutionary ideology, it says we're revolutionary Black nationalists, revolutionary Pan-Africanists, if we really adhere to that and a few good people can change the whole thing. I didn't know how wide scale it was. So I didn't know where they were going. I'm gonna be honest, when you talk about National Directive War, I didn't know where we were going nationally. I didn't know what we were trying to accomplish and what we were doing.
And going off there, let me ask you, what does local autonomy mean to you, and how is this important within the next generation of the Panther parties that are coming up, or the people that are jumping into this movement now? Elaborate a little bit on local autonomy, because a lot of people don't actually get what that means. So explain that.
Absolutely. Well, the local autonomy, we believe at the People's Black Panther Party for Self-Determination. First of all, and this is, let me say this about us, because I love, Ward, you're an example of what we're trying to accomplish at the People's Black Panther Party. Like, I'm gonna put it out, the Ward acts as my chief of staff. And he is the perfect example of what I wanted us to accomplish. We have a lot of formations with the boots on the ground. We have a lot of organizations out there. My prayer was that we would be that mechanism that would we act as a Panthers education committee that will begin to educate these brothers and sisters who showed an interest in this aspect of the movement, to train them. By the way, excellent, you guys know Ward, so you know how he is with his training and his skill set, and then encourage them to participate in other organizations that are already established. Not to go in to take over, but to contribute and to help with the direction of the ideology. It isn't about starting. I love what you said, Syke, when you came on, that this is not another Panther formation. It's almost similar to how we operate, you know. And I know eventually that we will have to be more visible to get the type of recruitment, but it's essentially that's how we operate. So we go into local autonomy. Local autonomy is this. We know that every locale is different, and the relationship with the individuals of that locale, we hope prayerfully that people who would want to participate in the party would have established a relationship and a rapport with the people in their area and their community, that is unique and based on their social and cultural understanding, actions, and practices. So we encourage them to build upon that, to address those issues, to begin to prioritize according to the needs and the people that are right there. And even in their promotions and a lot of their handling their business. National just simply should act as if everything goes according to plan, advisory and setting a structure, providing a base so that they will know what to build on. We encourage them to have bylaws that address their local. It also aids in our furthering, because I don't believe in a centralized head. I believe in cadre development and building. So I believe that having local autonomy at the same time ensures a continuation of the mission. You know, they know the ideology. They have a structure and a format of how we operate. And that's if they function properly, that's to the degree the national would like to be involved as advisory and aid. We super encourage the people to establish their own bylaws and an administering of justice and infractions. You know, now we do offer a relief, because as we know, as we get in developments, we all bring foolishness with us as we begin to develop our revolutionary type. But so we will, you know, if it's excessive, intervene, there again, advise, but intervention to the degree of removing people and discipline people, this and that, the national really tries to take a handoff approach, because it isn't just slang and language that is different in different locales, it's temperament. And we know that the people in their locale know how to handle their people. So when we just look at a chairman and say, yo, get your boy, or yo, get your girl, what kind of chapter you running in, buddy? You know. So that's local autonomy. Handle your business in your city. You know, and then you need to back up, invite us in, and we all converge.
And one thing I think that's important about that is a lot of people don't know, even going back to what I asked you in regards to the perspective that you had about the new Black Panther Party when you first got introduced to it, is that Chairman Kahar knew that and operated from that perspective, because that is in essence how the new Black Panther Party was founded and how it operated. But what happened is a lot of that concept got lost in the sauce through certain fractions that eventually took over the national leadership of the new Black Panther Party. But the new Black Panther Party was actually founded on that principle of local autonomy. So you addressed that.
You know, I will go add to that when he was saying it, because just like him, I was out of the picture, from 2001 all the way until Neverwary. I was all the way out of the picture due to prison. And when I left, that was the major concept and idea that we operated on in the new Black Panther Party was local autonomy. We understood that. And when local groups, like I remember we went to New Orleans to assist them, and we went to Mississippi, to Gulfport, Mississippi, to assist them, local groups would invite other groups. Like at the time, the Dallas chapter was, because we didn't have a national at the time. So the Dallas chapter was the chapter that most chapters called to for support and help, because the Dallas chapter had boots on the ground the longest. And we would go out and we would help and assist those brothers and sisters, but we didn't go out and think we had the right to take control of their mission or what they had going on. And, that was the thing that I was taught and educated under when I came into the NBPP was local autonomy, the whole concept and ideal of local autonomy. So that when I was just listening to this, it was kind of surprising when he was talking about the loss of local autonomy and that, because I wasn't around for that era.
Oh man,
and one of the misconceptions I want to clear up right now, because I know a lot of the people are going out there and purchasing the book of Khalid. In that book, there is an actual reference of when myself and Khalid got into a little bit of a debate, and Khalid pretty much wanted me to be removed from the ranks. The reason why that didn't happen at the time was because of local autonomy. The principles we created from back under the new Black Panther Party, and the foundation of it was that if you are in charge of an operation in the field, then you are in charge of that operation in the field. It's not to say that it's just a front. So at the time, we were dealing with a specific movement that was taking us into Jasper, Texas, where we was going in arms. I was told basically by Khalid at the time how to place my troops and how to deal with the field operation. And I told him to stay in his lane. And when I said that to somebody of his stature, he didn't receive that. He didn't receive that right, because like, who are you? Little kid coming out of Dallas, Texas, with no international, overstanding, so to speak, and don't have the, I guess the exposure that I've had to tell me how to run things. The idea is based on how the structure had been in place, based on my experience under the operation in which we've done, and being that I've had many exposure to armed maneuvers and knew how to handle a weapon and train people how to handle a weapon, was that I was placed in position in charge. So from that standpoint, operating through local autonomy, I was not going to have an outsider tell me what to do when it was outside of their jurisdiction to be able to say so. Mm-hmm. That didn't make it in the book. What made it in the book made it seem as though, because of Khalid being Khalid, that he would have the ability to control all aspects of the organization. And that is not how we operated on the local autonomy. And so I just wanted to throw that out there, because a lot of times people would not get that looking at the current structure now. So it's important. Yes. I'm glad Yenga said that. Go ahead, brother.
That was the whole thing. Like I said, coming up in Cleveland, when I went through my thing in Cleveland, anybody that knows Cleveland's a very Black nationalist city. We talking about the city of Harlell Jones, the first Black mayor. Cleveland is like off the hook with red, black, and green. So we wasn't, though we knew about Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Rahimahullah Ta'ala, though we knew about Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, he wasn't, that's what I mean by I was insulated. I didn't know how colonized the party was outside of Cleveland. Like, I had a few tapes and this and that. I had run into people that could quote them verbatim. They were, their delivery style was, and it was just different than what I was used to. Like I said, I grew up with the the writings of, like you went on George Jackson, Fred, Deputy Chairman Fred Ham Sr., and things of that nature, the classical writings of Marx or Lenin or Bakunin or whatever, some revolutionary writings like that. So to see that this was the language of revolution, this was what was fueling, I think, revolution a little bit, to me was disconcerting. I think that kind of concerned me a little bit, because though he is very fiery in rhetoric, and I think that Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was the greatest spokesman and one of the greatest champions verbally that probably graced the planet Earth. And with all due respect, that being said, he was not revolutionary, and he was not, as far as technically, you know what I'm saying? I don't want all the people pissed at me, but as far as technically revolutionary in strategy, ideology, or theory, you know what I'm saying? And if someone challenges that, then I'd say just bring your proof. I heard the great speeches, very fiery rhetoric, which is needed to inspire people, but I didn't hear strategies, plans, dialectics. I didn't hear things that would carry us forth in a revolutionary struggle. So I think that I was surprised at how much the party was a fan club and less revolutionaries. That I had grown up knowing what revolutionaries to be.
Gotcha. And on that question, in addressing quantity over quality within the Black Panther Party movements, why does this continue, you think, to be such a challenge?
I think because we're looking for that. We're looking for that quantity. You know what I'm saying? We're looking for that quantity. We want quality too, but we're looking for that quantity. And so we're operating from mega church perspective. We're operating from Farrakhan mentality, and not how effective we can be in a cadre of 5 or 6. The quantity are the masses. We've forgotten that the revolution is for the masses of people. Not everybody has to join the formation. The defense minister of the People's Black Panther Party, when we had one, I would tell him in that city, you're not the defense minister of the party, you're the defense minister of that city. It is your job to develop programs to get the people, to inspire the people, motivate the people to fight for themselves, and therefore to develop programs to train them, to have the institutions to foster and cater and aid and assist that mindset, to develop the body to physically follow behind. Same with health, cultural programs, social programs, all of those, any of those programs. This is why I was saying how the People's Black Panther Party operates. Be that seed to join that organization that is doing that thing, and encourage them. And if you have another brother that's in the PR sister in the People's Black Panther Party, oh, yo, so I'm working with these people, and he's like, I'm working with these people, we need to make sure they meet, and then we can develop a plan that spreads along through the city. So the quality of the quantity of people are the masses. So this is why we miss it. But the quality is important, because you need those people who are going to be able to get the information, break the information down to your next group of people that'll be able to disseminate the information. And it's all about, to me, I go to the people, and my primary people is, no disrespect to the gun clubs, no disrespect to all of these groups, but a lot of these people are still people that have their rights. A lot of these people are still masquerading revolution under radical reformism. You get out there with the guns and this and that, Second Amendment rights, but some people don't have that right. Some people are marginalized and disenfranchised. They will never be afforded the right to enter into what they would call citizenry of the United States. They're regulated to a class, a scarlet letter stamped on it, double jeopardy, still serving time, all of that good stuff. So the only solution for people like that have been disenfranchised to reach their fullest human potential is revolution. Revolution. You gotta change the system. They know hiding and slipping in the cracks for you, homie. You have to change the system. And I think that has to be pushed. And when that's pushed and solutions are placed on the table, and not just solutions, but the steps to achieve some of those solutions are placed on the table, I think that we'll see more people making different decisions. But right now, to be a revolutionary is too funky and freaky. it's not everyday and practical to the masses. You talk to the homies and you talk about revolution, like you said, it's either Dr. Khalid Muhammad or eating vegetables or, I got to wear one of them dashiki things. It ain't the homie that's still having the 40, that's still burning the Newport. Where does he see himself? It's that black Muslim homie. And that's not revolution. So I think that's where we get caught up. They're trying to get quantity and quality. They want to be elitist, you know what I'm saying? But they want 100 million elitists. You know what I'm saying? You can't have it. So if you're going to be elite in what you do, and y'all elite, then you need to be a guerrilla unit. If you do that, then you need to make sure you go back and train the masses. Begin to get your guerrilla army out of those masses. Come here, homie. I know you don't supposed to have that, but since you got that, and don't tell nobody this is how you use it. First, put the damn safety on. Because he got it anyway. He got it anyway. You know what I'm saying? But if we just keep calling the brothers out that are licensed, carried, and already know how to operate, and we're making threats under the Second Amendment, what you going to do when they take that? What you going to do? So it always has to be whatever we do. And I'm not knocking that we need that, but I'm just saying, whatever we do, I think we should get and make sure it's towards empowering the masses. Empowering masses.
And with that being stated, now, what do you see as the purpose of protests, and what must the people take away from participating in protests?
I think that the purpose of a protest is just that, to draw attention to the grievance. You know what I'm saying? Prayerfully, when it grows on an international level, to draw not just attention to it, but show that it's systemic, that it is not some civil rights issue. This is genocide against a people. And, you know what I'm saying, this is human rights are being violated here. Genocide is happening against us through food, education, terrible social conditions, just everything. Crimes have been perpetrated against us and continue to be perpetrated against us as a people. So I think protests should definitely draw attention and awareness to it. It also should serve as, a lot of times it is the introduction for the lump and for the general masses. Protest is their first taste of participation in the revolutionary experience, or the opportunity to participate in their liberation struggle, and that's good. It's also dangerous sometimes because protests are full of energy. And then you run into the challenge of keeping these people's attention once they join your organization after what we call revolutionary lulls, after the energy dies down. So I think that all of those things are good at what happens at protests. But what I think, what you said, what we should take away from it.
Right. And I'm saying that from the perspective of, like you say, people just jumping in, and that's their first taste of any type of social activism.
That's it. I think that's what we push and promote political education. We tell them pump their brakes. We know it's like, hey man, it's like smoking drugs. I know it feel good. You riding a high, homie. We tell them to pump the brakes for a moment. And we should study. We encourage them to study. You talked about, that's another thing I want to touch on. You talked about one of the benefits of growing up in a Panther household. That one of them was, I wasn't all over the place. I knew what like you said, politics is everything. Everything is politics. My father's specialty, what I knew I was raised under, was revolutionary politics. So I didn't have to, ride on the spaceship. I didn't have to, cross the desert on a camel. I did that because I thought that's what Islam. But a lot of us, what happens is, and this is what I mean when I say revolution, revolution has become synonymous with conscious culture. And I think that's dangerous, because now every group is revolutionary group. You know what I'm saying? Even if you got a 501c3 or whatever they call it, this and that, revolutionary so-and-so, and you got these, and that is we have to fight on every front, but we have to be honest to label what it is, and so that way we get the right people joining the right things. Because when you say revolutionary, I want to show up, but I'm a revolutionary and I got certain things on my soul. I'm in here with this cat talking super reckless. He ain't did a day in jail. He got firearms everywhere. I didn't know it was this type of, I didn't know we was doing this. I didn't know it was a gun club. I didn't know it was a gun show or a circus or whatever. I'm thinking we coming to a revolutionary meeting. I got pen and pad. Every nigga in here got a Uzi. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, what? So I think that knowing what we're focusing on. So that's the big, when people go to the protests and we catch them hype like that, catching that energy, focus them. You know, don't take them all over the place. And it's not about discouraging them from studying anything. Just always ask them, what are you trying to accomplish? Remind them, what are you trying to be revolutionary? If they come back with man, did you know on the planet? Someone say, hey man, that's cool, but what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you still trying to do your revolutionary studies? Do you know about Fanon? Do you know about Malcolm X? Do you know about Martin Delaney? You know what I'm saying? We talk about Black nationalism. So we just giving them something, make sure just giving them stuff. And whatever their specialty is. A lot of people are into militarization of the party. That's another thing. One day we get to talk about that. I hate how the party has been militarized. But then, you know, you give them Robert Williams. You know what I'm saying? You start giving them these books on armed and defense, because these were people that, though they took that avenue, they never lost track of, lost focus. It didn't, like I told somebody, and I'm not to be long-winded, I said, when you think about the third development, what people call the original party, when you think about the image of them, you see them with guns. That's the image you have. But when you think about their program, you think about feed the people. See what I'm saying? When you think about these cats, you see the guns. When you think about their program, you think about the guns. And that's what they don't get. They don't have the coalition. They don't have the lot of people. Yeah, we say the third development. We think about Huey them with the bandolier of guns. But when you say, what were they about? It ain't, the first thing is they didn't have 100 niggas at Stone Mountain. First, they fed them babies. They did this. They did. You begin to talk about the social programs. And I think that that's what we miss.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you for that, for breaking that down, because that kind of goes right into the next question I would have.
Hold on. Before you continue, I want to add one question, because he spoke on something. He talked about revolution, and you know how I am on definitions. So I would like to get Brother Yanga's definition of what's revolutionary. What is revolution? Because he talked about showing up at places and being a revolutionary and thinking he's there for revolution, and showing up and people being about something else. So what would your definition of revolution be? What is your ideal of what revolution is? What is the definition, and what is revolutionary activities? Okay.
I think that two things happen here. I think revolution is, first we understand that complete revolving. And in the revolving, it is, I believe, the Black man and woman getting back to an original conscious state of thinking, a pure state of thinking. I hope that revolution takes us back to that thinking, that revolving takes us back to that original because like I said, aspects of Nkrumahism, and like Dr. Nkrumah says, Kwame Nkrumah talks about that African consciousness and the original nature of an African people. That's one. Politically, I talk about the complete change of the current ruling or governing system. I'm not going to say constructive change and all that, because people have revolutions and sometimes those revolutions are worse than what the people were under, but a complete change. And then from that, there's various modes of revolution, but I'm talking about a complete change in the current system of not just governing, but also social, cultural interaction amongst Black people, economic repression and education, and all the above. A complete change in how it's established, disseminated, and our reaction to it. So with that, that's my definition. I believe that the Black man and woman must develop to be a revolutionary type. And the revolutionary type is one that only does things that is productive for Black people. You know, so that's in self and in community. Yes, we had to work on it, man. I got my habits, I got my things I dig, and even ways I think in my interaction with my woman at times and with my children at times is very neo-colonialist, and I have to be mindful. But that's the first step towards it, is a consciousness. The revolutionary must have a nature of resistance. So the consciousness comes to bring us awareness to it. The resistance is there to help us to fight it. The revolutionary type is also economically conscious. We're conscious what we spend. We're conscious if our money are going to support people who support atrocities in Africa, or back candidates who are clearly against the Black African here in America. And to like you said, the revolutionary, therefore, is conscious of their brothers and sisters. If we're saying that we're having this particular meeting, it's a revolutionary meeting, it's supposed to be serious, and we're serious for our brothers and sisters, and we're revolutionary type, and we know what that means, and we know historical dialectics. We understand history. We know what happens to the revolutionary. For somebody to show up hot like that either gives me question two things. Either they haven't studied, or they're a provocateur or an antagonist. So I can see when we say, like I said, there's just certain things that revolutionaries know, that they'll huddle over in the corner and be like, yeah, I thought they said this was revolutionary and not more social clubbish. So we have to be, and the reason that I think that what has happened is us as revolutionaries, despite how we want to achieve revolution, but those of us as revolutionaries have allowed this word to be used very free.
Okay. Real quick on that. So I would say basically also what you just kind of like drawing a perspective on what you say you would show up to, showing up with a pen and pad to me basically reflects on knowing that you're going to have to be dealing with something from a long-term perspective versus dealing with people that are being reactionary from the standpoint of committing a specific action as if that is going to solve all our problems.
Right.
And so that kind of goes right into, again, my next question, which is the current attraction. Do you believe that the current attraction for social justice is a trend, or do you feel a greater percentage of our people are just waking up?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I think that it's a trend. It is a stress reliever. But during that trend and in relieving our stress, we're awakening. But it goes back to something you taught one time. It's like you said, you may have choices, but who controls the choices? If I'm given A and B and not told that there's a whole nother C. So they allow us that release of stress. They allowed the trend, the whole woke thing. I forget what Republican, who was that? Republican, I think he's a senator or something. He talks about woke supremacy. Have you heard that one?
Elaborate on woke supremacy.
They have black identity extremists. This black guy talks about woke supremacy. He says that there's these people that's pushing this thing called woke, being awoke, and they make themselves superior to people who they call unawoke. Somebody must have told him he ain't woke or something. And he said that they're supremacists, push this on you. And so he calls it woke supremacy. You guys out there get a chance, check out woke supremacy. Maybe you could Google it and he'll show up. It is hilarious. So I forgot the main question. I got it.
Basically, in dealing with the current situation, is it a trend, or do we actually have a greater percentage of the population waking up? And before you go back into that, in regards to what Brother Yang is talking about with woke supremacy, that was Senator Ted Scott that used that phrase. So if y'all want to look up on that, go into that. Go ahead.
It is funny. It's hilarious. So So I think it's both, but I think it could be advantageous to us. But since it's derailed, like it is every time, we haven't learned to be the locomotive. We always want to be the caboose. I mean, they use one of our incidents and then they just derail it. It becomes a whole nother thing. It becomes this harmony, peace on earth, human life is valuable, which is absolutely right. But right now, we're saying the poster child for that movement should be Black Africans here in America, if you're going to have that movement. Of course, we know that they're not truly going to have that movement, so it's up to us to not only push it like we do, but to maintain control of it. And we lose control of the moment. You know, we take the momentum, we lose control of it. They take the momentum in their direction every time. So that's what we're dealing with. So it's the question and the challenge is, how do we take advantage of the trend and the people being awakened? It's time to begin to build institutions. We're not instituting, but we're not, in order to really have something to counter and fight what this enemy, we have to have counter institutions. We have to have our own schools, our own doctors, we have to have it. And it's not something so grandiose or so far-fetched. We can begin to do it right there in our communities. But it starts with, first of all, changing the behavior, social interaction. You know, so that's my question. How do I use the trend and the awoke to our advantage? How do I get these same people to meet outside the protest? How do I get them to take that same energy and begin to not be reactive, but proactive in their community? How can I channel that and keep that going? You know, not just wait for them to go home and sit and watch the news and wait for the next big rallying spot. So that's the challenge.
Okay. And with that, what elements should the new generation of Black Panthers take to rebuild a real connection with the people?
Be the people again. Be the one thing I'll say about growing up in the house of the Panthers, and my father still does it to the day. He calls it his Panther stroll. He walks to the library. The library knows him, so they hold a paper for him. He walks, makes his stroll to the library. One day he wasn't feeling the best. I said, I'll make your stroll for you, Pops. Rolled through the hood. They was like, yo, where Panther Man? I like, hey, where Panther Man? They set clocks by it. That's how they know if all's good in the hood. And Panther Man ain't on the stroll, what's going on? So it's about being the people again. It's about remembering. I would tell the new Baptist, remember, everything is politics. Politics is everything. Where are your programs, your basic programs? Where are your budget programs? Where are your programs, how to get a nutritious diet out of what we got? How to help how you get shouted, help budget them food stamps. Talking to these young men about fatherhood. You talking about the youth. These young Negroes got children. They got grown man problems. Youth, that's a whole grown man, and the police will kill him like a grown damn man. So we got to teach them and talk to them like grown. We have to remember that the Panther has to be that sigil of Black people again. The Panther and the Black Panther this, Black Panther that, all of that's cool because I think it's needed. It speaks to your specialty. But at the end of the day, the Panther should be a concept. That's why I like the Panther 48. When you have Panther, that's a concept. I call it the cat. We call it the Black Cat Nation. That's a concept. That's a type. The Panther is a type. I should be able to know you, even when you don't have your cat on. I should be somewhere talking. Someone hear me and whisper to you Black Panther, ain't you? You want a Black Panther? Yeah, man. How you know? Man, I'm just listening to you, man. My cousin, a Black Panther. I saw the Black Panthers on YouTube. They be talking like you. We should rock, all of us. You see what I'm saying? Despite formation. So when we get out there and we begin to be the people again. But I did in Atlanta. I didn't have a feed the hungry I didn't have a feed the homeless program. What is that? I had a community feed, and we all sat down and ate. And I encouraged them to bring canned goods, to participate, to eventually bring a dinner. But before then, we're providing it. And at first they sent the babies. You know how we do in Black community. Go down there and see what they do. Send them babies first. And we fed the babies and talked to the babies. It wasn't nothing radical. We didn't try to transform overnight. We was real people. We was big bruh, tell your parents come holler at us. And it just was real. Everything is politics, and politics is everything. And that's the politics of the people. I think that once they adapt that philosophy and know what revolutionary politics are, with your people politics. See, when you say politics, everybody can get Democrat, Republican, but revolutionary politics are people politics, the dialectics of everyday life. How are we going to get this done? And what is the best way to get this done with what I'm given? And how would this be advantageous, not just for me as an individual, but for us as a people? And when they start thinking like that, I think that we'll see something happen. One of the things I will give Huey, though, in concluding about that, is his ability to grasp the concept of people power through socialism. Like I said, I don't necessarily agree with the staunch adherence to Marxism or Leninism, to socialism or any communism, any of that. All of that's derived from us, African communalism. But I will say his pulling away from that and understanding people power pulled them away from the charismatic leadership concept to a degree in the beginning, until we study what they did to Huey after he got out of jail. But in the beginning, because Huey, we have to understand, Huey's in jail for a large part of the growth of the party. So the iconic image of Huey was just that, propaganda. They really didn't have the exposure to him like that. It was the people power that kept the party going. You know what I'm saying? And their concept of empowering the people and the community endearment and community pay. The Panthers was very large, but the large part of them in their power was the love the community had for them. Hence, free breakfast program, WIC, and everything. The government had to undermine them. So they said, you know what? Let's do what they do, minus the Black self-determination philosophy. Let's give them free this and free that. And I remember when they began to do it, when they gave us the cheese, powdered milk, and powdered eggs. I remember when the program stopped and the government kicked in.
That's real important, because basically what you're talking about there is a whole generation of people that just did not realize that that was actually a weaponization tactic to strip our people from being self-determined. And when they saw that our people was operating on self-determination, they basically stripped it away and made sure that we would go to the government and that we would stop operating as community.
And once they did that, they could launch a full-scale attack. That and drugs, then they could launch an attack on the Panthers and the community would be docile. See, before that, you couldn't come in there and do the Panthers like that. Either they're going to be forewarned, the hood might put tires in the road. You weren't going to come in to the Black and do the Panthers like that. Even if it was only 20 Panthers in that hood, it was the people. But once, like you said, they began to subsidize the people, once they gave us the substance and the Panthers were no longer needed for that, add the dope, and then the law for the Panthers not to carry, the criminalizing them, knowing that, now this is when the revolution kicks in. This is what I tell my gun club people. What happened? We look at, what was it, the Bradford Act? You know what I'm saying? When they, in California, Oakland, in California, so when they made it illegal to carry, they challenged the rebel. What the revolutionary going to do? Not carry at this point? Just because the state, George Jackson said every revolutionary must eventually come to terms with being an outlaw. Because at some point in time, you and the state are going to conflict. So when the state said no longer open carry, what were the revolutionaries supposed to do? Oh, we can't open carry? No, they challenged it. But they had already eroded community support through their food program, through the drugs. Now they criminalized the Panthers and gave a reason to come in and to shoot to kill. That's why I know revolution is going to be the only solution. That's how they had to shoot to kill. Oh, you're not putting down the gun, not drop the gun, it's bow, bow, bow. We know you're not going to put it down.
And that leads me to the next question here, is the current generation of Panthers being labeled extremists, or do you feel that label was always applied to the Panthers?
I think it was always applied to the Panthers. I think a lot of these formations are flying by the coattail. I think a lot of these for extreme folly. I think a lot of formations are flying by the coattail with that. I think extreme has always been related to the Panthers, because we have to understand the Black Panther Party, and not only the Black Panther Party, but primarily the Black Panther Party in the whole Black Power movement era, shook America. Here was a Black revolutionary group. They didn't have to say Black nationalists in their charter. It doesn't have to spell it out. We look at the actions. The actions were directed towards the Black community. Here was the ember of the potential for real revolution. And the world was watching. You remember the time, we're talking about the shooting at Kent State. We're talking about the Vietnam War. We're talking about the world is watching America. Revolution is breaking out all over the place. And Black people have decided to participate in international revolution on their own soil. They want to end to imperialism and capitalism. How dare they? And it scared them, because in the most privileged country in the world, the angriest people in the world bit the bug. That wasn't supposed to touch their Negroes, and it scared them profoundly. It scared them profoundly. So yeah, they labeled it extreme, and the measures that they went to suppress our movement was extreme, from the murder and steal the unlawful holding of political prisoners. They are political prisoners. They have downplayed, free them all, by the way. They have downplayed our participation in revolutionary struggle. They have downplayed it and de-escalated it to acts of criminal activity. And they are revolutionary acts by political dissidents. They disagree with the political process and they express their disagreements, but they weren't judged based on their political disagreements and the actions that came after that. They're judging them based on criminal actions, state laws, federal laws, just unjust laws being held in the most inhumane conditions, unfairly judged, is poorly trained, and our failure as revolutionaries. I ain't gonna say our failure. I'm not gonna say that. Pardon you revolutionaries out there. One of our challenges is to keep that alive, to keep, the continuation there and that fight, that struggle going. These are some of the things that I would say to the new formations coming in. Don't think that you're inventing nothing new. This is why we use developments. Because in these developments we talk about, especially the third, you would still have political prisoners. So we use developments of formation so that we don't forget those, our predecessors. We don't forget those who preceded us. We know their struggle. We know their contribution to the liberation movement and the Panther as a legacy and as an understanding itself specifically. So yeah, that would be my advice to him, man. Just really, I think everything's become sensational now. YouTube, Facebook, it's very little boots on the ground. Success is measured by YouTube likes and Facebook likes and how many people viewed your video. This is how not the effectiveness in the community or the people that you reach. And I think that's one of the tragedies. So I think more time and energy and effort is put on by a lot of these people in their performance than anything else. What I love about this show, I told Seven, I said, man, they invited me to the show. What should I wear? I need to get my this and that. She said, have you looked at the show? You might want to go look at the show. So I said, okay, let me go look. I said, oh, they be kicking it. I didn't know how, so I love that. Okay, let's rap. So I think a lot of time is put into production of a thing, but it's like the Wizard of Oz. When you pull back the curtain, there's this little guy pulling levers and nothing's really being done.
Right. Like, you got any questions you want to ask the brother?
Well, all I want to say is, brother, we appreciate you for coming on. The thing that we're trying to do right now is we're going to founders and day one revolutionaries, and we're deciding, to give them a platform to build on, to give their ideas, their philosophies, their concepts. So one of the last things I want to ask you, because you gave a lot of I consider myself a long-term revolutionary myself, and you educated me a lot today. But one of the last things I like to ask is, Could you please tell us why you decided to start the People's Black Panther Party when you came into the new Black Panther Party, and give the people a way to contact you? You know,
Okay,
email, things like that.
okay, absolutely, absolutely. You know, when I came in the new Black Panther Party under the chairmanship of Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz, and it was pretty cool. You know, it had its ups and downs. What ended up happening eventually, fast forward some time, Dr. Shabazz decided to step down. And when he decided to step down, he wanted to appoint Brother Hashim Nzinga at the time, Brother Hashim Nzinga to chairmanship. And that's what started. So we'll put the start there. I want to clear some things up. It was not most of the people I talked to that had a problem with that wasn't so much Hashim being appointed. It wasn't Hashim. It was not being allowed to practice democratic centralism. It was the fact that the party membership was not allowed to make a decision in their leadership. Due-paying members, labor putting in members weren't allowed to make a decision. And people say, oh, well, he was the chief of staff. Absolutely. Yes, he should have stepped up into an election time or into a term had been appointed that we have an election. And so it was some back and forth with that. One time it was an election, one time it wasn't. So I did Sister Crystal Muhammad, was one of the people that reached out and was dissatisfied about what was taking place. And so, long story short of it, some cities that got on board. We petitioned Malik to hear us out. We called a convention. The people, the cities with grievances was like, you know, after communicate with Malik and everybody, you know, we invited them to, we said, hey, we're calling a convention, you know, come here, rectify this thing, or there's going to be a split. We had an official letter done. Now, let me stop there too on this. The best, worst thing that I think could have happened to Panther history, the best, worst thing. The best thing is I think that we did it right and exact. We set a precedence. We had a letter of discontent, dissatisfaction. We had a convention, the various cities, the different people came and attended the convention, and all the thing was above board and proper. You know, that's the good thing. It set a precedence, I believe, on how things should be done. The sad thing is, I believe the split, when you don't have people politically educated, fueled or gave the impression that because you have a disagreement, a personal disagreement, or you dislike someone's swagger, so to speak, that's enough to split. And it seems like after that split, 1,000,001 Panther formations popped up. I kid you not. We had up the street Panther, back the street Panther. So we split. I went with Sister Muhammad. Some things happened in that formation with Sister Muhammad. So Sister Muhammad left and took some people with us. So now we have 3 formations. We had a new Black Panther Party under Malik, a new Black Panther Party under Sister Muhammad, and a new Black Panther Party at this particular time, no chair. So we was like, this is not going to fly. Being that the party, a lot of the head people were very revolutionary minded, naturally it just came to us to slap peoples on there. That's what we're about. So we said, let's be the people's new Black Panther Party. Eventually, my father, Chairman Kahar, was elected. And we had a strong team. We had Brother Baba Omawali, who is the founder of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, technical advisor, war. We just had some very strong people on the team. Sister Justice, rest in peace, just some very strong people. And definitely Texas, shout out to y'all, but y'all know y'all can be rowdy, man. Something about Texas, boy. So, within the whole thing, the People's New Black Panther Party, we went through the whole thing again, disagreements. And from this disagreement, I didn't see, I felt like the People's New Black Panther Party not only was losing its political direction, I felt like it was becoming militarized. You know, I felt like that. I'm like, you know, but we're bigger than just that. And so there again, unfortunately, but fortunately at the same time, we split again and became, and I said, you know what, we're just gonna drop the new. I never particularly cared for the new anyway, and we became the People's Black Panther Party. I wanted our mission to be larger than just defense. I wanted to, my thing too was to take a little bit away from, there again, what I believe is the militarization image of the Black Panther Party. I wanted to take that away a little bit. So I said, you know what, race first, and you know it all goes in the thing of self-determination, Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, El-Haj Malik Shabazz, more commonly referred to as Malcolm X, and just the whole thing. So self-determination was just a natural fit, and it is a philosophy. With the ideology of Black nationalism and the philosophy of self-determination, I know these two gumbos, which with whatever way we apply it, but these two ingredients will be the key ingredients and core ingredient to our liberation.
And I want to add this. I want to add this to that about what you just said about what made y'all make the split. And I'm not saying this for any kind of applause or anything like that, but I can't remember the year, it was somewhere in the 90s when Brother War drafted me and Brother E into positions. There was no national at the time, but Brother War drafted me as chief of staff, and he drafted E as a minister of information. And what we did is we came into our position. We was young, and we came into our positions with a desire to be as good as we could possibly be in those positions. So Brother E created and drafted an educational plan for teaching and educating the party, and I drafted an organizational format. One of the things that I did was created the mechanism format and the process through which you put people into position. We called it. You wasn't being put into power. You were being put on a post.
Okay.
So the ideal of that post was, if you're a chairman, that's a post you hold. You're not chairman for life. You can't pass chairmanship down to nobody. You're being put on a post. And the way that this worked was that the people, the average members, the boots on the ground soldiers, are the ones who elected their chairman. The chairman chose his staff. The chairman chose his central committee. He had the power to choose his central committee because his central committee was an extension of his responsibility. So he could choose his central committee. The people, the boots on the ground, the soldiers could not affect his central committee, but they could check their chairman if they didn't like what their central committee were doing, because they could remove their chairman from position and put another chairman in position if they chose to. So that put a check on the chairman and made the chairman have to keep his central committee in order and in line. Now, his central committee had the power to remove the average boots on the ground, the soldiers. The chairman couldn't remove an average soldier from the organization. Chairman didn't have that power. He could remove a member of his central committee from the central committee. The central committee had to have a unanimous vote to remove an average member from the organization. That was the checks and balances of the organization, and I know it because I wrote it. I know this for 100% fact. So there is no way that a chairman was supposed to pass chairmanship down to somebody just because they liked it. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
And the way that the mechanism structure worked was that each person, like, if for example, when I was there, Brother E was the Minister of Information. So Brother E was the general over the informational mechanism. And therefore, everybody that came into the party that wanted to operate from that perspective as a teacher, an educator, if they wanted to create a newsletter, a website, whatever it was, they operated under Brother E's structure.
Man, let me tell you something. That's my man. That's my stuff. That's how I run my thing, man. You know, I did that in Atlanta, and I got that actually, and that's why I say, talking when I was in the party, that was a part of the manual, and I thought that was one of the most brilliant things. I was like, oh my God, because it made it made sense. And what it did for me, it made it easy to recruit. It just it broke it down for one, like my community mechanism. You know what I'm saying? If you get, it just makes it easy to recruit. It helps compartmentalize it. This is what you deal with. This is your people you're going to deal with. And it also gives you, it helps you to, like I say, compartmentalize it, find a department that people can work in. I think it's brilliant, man. And I had been using that from day one. So I'm sitting and listening like, damn, okay. Yeah, so that's a trip that you wrote that. That is my stuff there.
Yeah, and brother E and brother Ward, and I say this, they was my mentors. I wrote it, but they was my mentors, so I wrote it based off what I learned from them. Brother E is where I got my understanding of African culture and its importance in revolutionary organizations. And Brother Ward is where I got my revolutionary organization ideas and military structure from. So with these two brothers, just like you, I was in the streets when I met these brothers. I was in the streets, and I was 100%. I ain't gonna say 100% because I was ready to make the transformation. I always say that the most intelligent transformation for a street soldier is to become a revolutionary. I always say that, and I was. I don't like to use the word luck because I don't believe in it. I was. For lack of a better word, lucky to run into Brother War and Brother E when I did, and they kind of gave direction to that energy, because I was never the street dude that just was running around, turning up stuff because I didn't have nothing else to do. I was the street dude that was turning up stuff because I was frustrated and didn't know where to direct that frustration,
Right.
And so when we came into this and had a chance to direct that energy into these things, we tried to go about it the best way that we know how. And I'm gonna be honest that we was young, idealistic kids at the time. I was in my early 20s. I think I might have been in my teens actually when I first started being introduced to revolutionary concepts and ideas. But so this was the direction of it. Chairmanship was never supposed to be passed down. It was never supposed to happen. The people in the organization chose the chairman. The chairman chooses the chief of staff, the central committee, and that central committee has the power to remove or grant membership in the organization to the party. That was the checks and balances that were supposed to be structured by the party, and the mechanism structure set a person that was supposed to have been trained and prepared to organize that mechanism in order to structure and categorize the membership into the ways that they best fit. Brother Justice Ali, as we know that the Panther Party already had Minister of Finance, Minister of Information, these things, but the Panther Party did not have the community liaison officer over the community mechanism. So that was a role that was created because to fit a brother named Justice Ali's personality. He was by nature a community liaison officer, and he was by nature geared toward leading the community mechanism because of who he was as a person. So these things were structured at that time for that purpose, and when I came home, I'm gonna be honest, when I first came home, I did 17 years. I left in 2001. I came home to April 2018. Matter of fact, today is my 3-year anniversary of being home. Man. And I came home April 11, 2018. And I wanted to jump on Brother Ian and Brother War, because I was like, what the hell happened? The Super Panther organization, the Panther, what the hell did y'all do while I was gone? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. That's why I say I was educated today, because I didn't know, what took place while I was gone. When I left, there was the new Black Panther Party. Brother Khalid was just coming into, and I love Dr. Khalid. I loved his speeches. I loved his inspiration. And while I was in prison, I taught about Dr. Khalid, about Brother War, about Brother E. There are brothers in prison that know Brother E like as if he was Bobby Seale or somebody that knows Brother Ward's name like he was Huey, that knows Dr. Khalid's name. These brothers never heard of any revolutionary concepts or idea whatsoever. So I taught this, and then when I come home and see something different, I see all these different fractions. I'm like, what the hell happened while I was gone? I don't know. I don't know what happened, but
we appreciate. That's what happened.
You did what?
Everything. That's what happened.
But we appreciate the interview, brother, and that's why we bring it out. And this actually is why we are doing the interviews with founders and day one revolutionaries who started these different groups, because we want to get these ideas out here. One of the things that I experienced myself. This is just the honest truth. I grew up in South Dallas in the 80s and 90s. And at that time, South Dallas was a Crip community. So I had a negative ideal of Bloods at the time. And it wasn't until I moved to Stop 6 in Fort Worth, and just so happened one of my cousins was an OG Blood in Fort Worth. So that introduced me to the Blood neighborhoods and a lot of true day one, diehard Bloods. I used to have a real negative view of Bloods before this. But being able to talk to them and sit with them and idealize with them, I gained a high respect for Bloods after that. And I said all that to say this, because I believe that when people see Brother Yanga, Brother Babu, Brother Aaron Michael, when they see these brothers and they hear these brothers' ideas and concepts, they'll get a whole different ideal and view of the People's Black Panther Party, the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, the new Black Panther Party, and why Aaron Michael decided to do what he did. I think that is what's going to start us moving what we need to move toward. And as Brother E said in the interview with Aaron, I think it was in the interview with Aaron, we don't visualize everybody having to be a part of the same organization, because we see and understand the importance of everybody doing what they need to do and what they're geared toward doing on their own, and us being able to have that open communication with each other. Mm-hmm. So if Brother Yanga and them is good at at teaching, building, and educating on the community levels and on black nationalist concepts and ideas, then that's who we need to contact when it's time to deal with that aspect of revolution in the Black community. If Brother E and them is good at dealing with helping the people understand how Black Pan-Africanism is a international ideal and concept that help Black people come together in a united format all across the globe, then we need to reach out to that, and that's what we understand. We don't need to make everybody do the same thing.
Right.
Some people are good at points number 7, and some people are great at point number 1, and some people are great at point number 3. And sometimes maybe and the Panther is an evolving thing. It's an evolving thing. And the brothers in the beginning, they had the 10-point platform all for one organization. Maybe that 10-point platform supposed to represent different arms of the concept of revolution in the community.
It's absolutely. You know what? The 10-point platform program, man, is just a political manifesto. It's absolutely what you said. It's a get in where you fit in. These are the things that here's what we pissed about. This is what we want to do about it. And so, we want freedom. Okay. We want an end to the economic exploitation of the Black community by the capitalists. Dig that. That's a cry to our economists, our Black economists. That may not be like you said to every brother. Then we want, what's number 5? We want a history that teaches the true nature of this decadent society and the Black woman and Black man's role in this society. So then we gotta crawl out to our educators. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It is about that. One of the things I love to add to it is because, like you said, with this African consciousness, like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, we're communalist people. We're we're secular people. We operate in a cipher. The European, and this is why we got to shake this neo-colonialist bull stuff. The European operates linear, operates in rank, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so when we try to do that, we always fail. And this is why we can't come together. Everybody knows we hate the HNIC. That nigga think he runs something. Everybody hates that. But when we operate as a community, and like what you said, Brother Syke, everybody plays a position. See, ain't no rank. In the People's Black Panther Party, you don't have rank. You got to play your position, homie. You know, it's like you're a shooting guard, a point guard, whatever. Play your position. And every position has roles and responsibilities. And that's all it is. I don't particularly care for the rank structure. But then, like I said, the People's Black Panther Party is more geared, is more politically oriented. It's a political party, political defense party, preferably be able to add a stronger defense mechanism. But it is a political defense party. So I put emphasis on the political. So I put the emphasis on having a position, democratic centralism, because not only is it a party, I wanted to act as an introduction to the participation of the political process and political empowerment. Like I said, I'm an Nkrumahist and a lot of my principles. And I like to call myself like a little black nationalist, Kwame Nkrumah, because I do believe Kwame Nkrumah and him and Sekou Touré were the strong proponents of Pan-Africanism and the United States of Africa, which I support, endorse, and think we need to have. I also like how Kwame Nkrumah freed his people, freed his nation right then and there. So he practiced a black nationalism because he started within his nation. So this is what I push and promote so that we can grasp Pan-Africanism in its fullest concept. And so I said that to say the People's Black Panther Party, I hope, acts as an introduction into the political process and participating in your self-determination through the political process. And when we add the other mechanisms, it will be participating for your self-determination through defense process and the whole armament and all of that type of stuff. And when we have the health mechanism, it'll be the same thing, self-determination through your health. So what we hope to do is to bring these, like you said, mechanisms together under this, and we just call it the People's Black Panther Party because right now it's a convenient umbrella to gather under. Prayerfully, my greatest dream would be, as point number 10 says, is the building of a black nation, have a plebiscite where we determine our own destiny, where we elect our own people, and it won't be Black Panther Party this. Right now, I understand that to be the fruition of the Republic of New Africa, the provisional government of the Republic of New Africa. And I'd like to see more of our people become politically aware and just politically conscious and politically comfortable and know that it's cool so that they will participate. I think that the Republic of New Africa is really something feasible. We see it in Jackson, Mississippi. We see where we have a capital, and we've seen where, Chokwe Lumumba was elected mayor. And I mean, I can go on, I don't want to diverge into something else, but I mean, it's something that could happen. So the People's Black Panther Party kind of acts as just a mechanism to introduce us to another aspect of Black power, and that's Black political power, Black revolutionary political power.
All right, brother. We appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on. Man. Before we get ready to close out, would you like to get a people email address or any way they can contact you if they want to become a part of the movement?
You know what? I would. And at the same time,
Right. All right, man. What's good, man? What's good, so brother?
Oh, bro, I'm just listening, soaking in all that information, man, to the best of my ability, man. But as I've been watching, brother, on my sabbatical journey, as I've just came out of recently, I've been really seeing the situation taking place in this nation among our people and against our people, of course. And it's it's getting me to the point, man, where I know I got to keep going because I can only keep going until my last breath. I take my last breath, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all about, do or die. You know what I'm saying? It's about you know what I'm saying? Get down or lay down.
That's it.
And it's at the point where we gonna have to do something to take our own destiny into our own hands.
Man, that's like you said, so brother, that's what the fight is for, man. And that's why I threw that up a little something, just wanted a little something to rock out with, and throw a little something up to show people along the lines of where my thinking was. And you picked right up on the main theme, and that's self-determination. That's self-motivation and activating yourself to take control of your destiny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because at this point in time, brother, I am I realized that trying to separate myself or run away from myself ain't gonna do me no good neither. So
where you gonna run to?
Exactly. Exactly. Right? So I must return back to the essence of my original habitat, geographically, as well as around the essence of all of those who look like me. You see what I'm saying? In a more majority habitat situation, to where I can be able to focus more and get more involved in the struggle. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Where you at now?
Well, you know, I'm in Nebraska.
Nebraska, that's right. That's right. Well, I remember you telling me about that. Well, it starts with you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And you're doing the right thing by tuning in. That's the whole thing about being a revolutionary. A revolutionary essentially is a guerrilla warfare fighter. And what a guerrilla warfare fighter's strength is that a guerrilla fighter can use or is able to utilize anything at their disposal as a weapon. They can weaponize anything. You know what I'm saying? And weaponizing isn't always necessarily just a physical weapon to strike somebody with. Weaponizing is also if you take something and you psychologically use it to hurt people or to inspire yourself.
Yeah. Because I've been in this struggle, even though when I was under that Dr. York indoctrinate, the Wabian indoctrination stuff, I thought I was in the struggle, when I was dabbling with the nation teachings, I thought I was in the struggle, but to come to find out in the reality of the whole scheme of things, it was just a institutional religious mechanism set up to just mind control someone, to mentally control and even to physically control someone. So I've come back to the essence of where I started at when I first began to understand hearing about the revolution, which was upon, the ideology of the Black Panthers, Marxist Leninism, and Malcolm X, which is where it started at as a teenager, before I even thought about even becoming a Muslim and all that other kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, I realize now that the struggle is always going to be real until we take our destiny in our own hands and stop depending on these fake ass politicians. Like them so-called Democrats who you see disregard us totally. Why they giving everybody else the bag or passing the bag on everybody else or giving some type of new law to benefit people like the Asians when they should have passed that George Floyd Act. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, we left out in the cold. We got to take our own destiny. It's not about depending on no one else. That's the time we're in. And if Black people don't come to that realization to understand and realize that then we might as well consider ourselves on the way to extermination completely, which it don't got to be like that, but that's just the reality of the situation. You see, so I feel like right now, we need to really do something, to get this situation together, at least for the sake of our future generation. Because and like I heard you speak about earlier, come with a concrete solution of what we got to do. I'm willing to go, whether it be Operation Exodus Mississippi or whatever work to get the job done. I'm willing to get it done. It don't make me no difference. That's why I stand at with that.
I heard that, brother. That's the shit. That's the bottom line. And when we get more brothers with that type of fire and that type of spunk and funk, then we'll be able to really begin to shake something. And like you said, that's a strong plan. I'm gonna have to get my man Snupping Up on, man, and really give him the opportunity to run down that situation, to really run down the whole Exodus Mississippi, I believe. What is it?
Yeah. Operation Exodus Mississippi.
Operation Exodus Mississippi, indeed. Like I said before, that kind of coincides with, and I hollered this cat's name out before. Charles Blow was a writer for the New York Times.
Yeah, I got his book. Matter of fact, I got his book laying right next to my bed now.
Man, come on, man. The devil, I've been meaning to see. I've been procrastinating. Tell me a little bit. Have you been reading on it?
Yeah, I've been reading some of it, he basically he's basically talking about what we've been propagating with the Operation Exodus Mississippi campaign, basically that we need to, get back down south. Well, even though we're talking about starting with a state like Mississippi first, but he's talking about basically similarly the same thing by going back down there, taking over political positions to take control so that we can have more leeway politically as a people, and so that we could have more leeway to gain our freedom to where it should be and where it's still not at. You see what I'm saying? And to get up out of these these havens that we're in, that is dominated by the majority population, ruling population, like where I'm at out here in this part of the Midwest. You see what I'm saying? Or further west, like where Sister Seduction at, like in Colorado, places like that.
Okay.
We don't need to be in these type of places. You know what I'm saying? We need to be where we're predominantly where we have more of a chance. And then to that point to where we could create ourselves a safe haven for real, away from all this crazy ass stuff going on with these races, because right now, as I walk out my door every day, brother, I have to tell you the truth, man. I feel more uncomfortable around them. And because of the climate that we find ourselves in.
Well, so brother,
you're dealing with the racial demographic situation in this country. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean, but you know what? And that's nothing that you should feel abnormal about. I think that's just man. That's
just the reality of it. Yeah.
It's not only and it shows that you haven't been so put to sleep that you ignore a natural instinct, a survival instinct. Every Black person that has allowed themselves to be lulled to comfort, to be foolish enough to be serenaded to sleep by them, has found themselves in the wolf's belly. There's not a time. Everything from, you seen the show we was just on with those gentlemen on there, where one of their biggest, they'll talk about the biggest moments of them being in the Black Panther Party or the new Black Panther Party was the
Mhm.
atrocity that happened in Jasper, Texas to a brother named James Byrd.
Yeah, I remember that. I
You remember that
remember
Byrd
that.
case?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, indeed.
And what did white boys do to James Byrd? You
Drug him
remember
down
that?
drug him down one of them small highway roads.
To his body fell apart. Terrible. Cracker.
Yeah,
Do you know how James Byrd got with them white boys?
at a bar.
Yep. See what I'm saying?
Had a couple of drinks and they
couple
said, "Come
drinks.
on, boy, we got
Come on,
somewhere to
boy.
go."
Yeah. Got some more drinks in the truck. Yo, come on. You know, the Confederate flag didn't become so Confederate. Them white boys wasn't so pasty anymore. You know, a couple drinks and the devil can appear to be your friend. And that's what he thought. He allowed his natural instincts to be put to sleep, that this isn't quite right. The very intermingling, this whole interaction, me sitting here drinking with these pasties just is not a good look. And not only was it not a good look for him, it turned out to be fatal.
Yep, unfortunately.
So, you know, I would say that you're probably, you know, right around within right thinking.
Because I'm looking at the history of even the state I live in. You know, here, Nebraska was known for lynching Black people in the early 1900s.
Okay.
Like in Kansas and Oklahoma and places around the rest of the Great Plains area of this country, which also include Missouri, you know? So, I mean, let's not get it twisted. I mean, they talk about the South, but a lot of that was going on here too, you know?
Absolutely, man. The Midwest is notorious, especially like you said, up in that area.
Yeah, you know, I had listened to years ago, since I had been here, I had listened to a double disc CD that I had borrowed out of a local library here at one time, about talking about Malcolm X, you know, about how the early part of his life began here in Nebraska and Omaha, right? And how his father was a local minister for Marcus Garvey's UNI organization and chapter in Omaha, and how the Ku Klux Klan hurried up and got together to shut that down and threaten him. And of course, you know, the Reverend Earl Little Sr. had to leave up out of there with the family, including young Malcolm, you know?
Yep,
absolutely. And then next thing we know, he laying dead over a railroad track in Lansing, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's no coincidence, you know?
No, absolutely not.
And after that, and because of that, from the time Malcolm X got out of prison in Massachusetts, you understand me, the powers that be was already marking him for life, you know, just because of his his family's background with the Garveyite movement. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, you know, it's like, man, I'm telling you know, here it's and you know, they don't even recognize him like they recognize him in other parts of the United States, like name streets after him and stuff.
Nah,
they got
not
street
gonna
hit.
do that. You already know, man. I know you're not up there complaining about Nebraska. You already know they're not gonna do it.
I already know.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, in some of here it is, in some of the larger cities, they don't have streets about Malcolm. What I am curious to know is, though, I know, I'm not going to say what I know because you're there. Does Nebraska have a Black Historical Society or some type of, usually cities like that, like,
you know, if you will find any reference of history here, it will mostly be related to Omaha, because that's where the biggest population of our people are here in the state.
Okay.
And they are mostly, especially if they're the underclass poor ones, they're relegated to a certain area called North Omaha, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so,
you know, You know what I recommend when I'm in play? I don't know how socially active you are and things like that, but like when I go to visit little towns and cities that I stumble across my travels, this large country of ours, planting the seeds of self-determination and self-worth, commonly known as Black nationalism. When I run into these little small places, I encourage those people in those towns to form study groups.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, see here where I'm at here in the state capital, which is like 1 hour from
Oh,
Omaha.
okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, this is man, look, this is definitely you know, you have a demographic of so-called Black and brown people here, but but it's not like in Omaha. But they're here, but you have to watch carefully who you even address that to here, you know, because it's so you know what I'm saying, Caucasian controlled here to the point where, and plus considering that this is not one of your typical large state capitals like where you at in Georgia, right? This is a small state capital here, you know. So you got to be very
okay.
yeah, that type of situation. Plus, you know, the Ku Klux Klan had a stronghold here too. And you got also white you know, supremacists, so-called white supremacists, you know, like them Trump type groups here. That's very prevalent here, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like about 9 of them listed according to the here in Nebraska, according to the Southern Law Poverty Center, you know. So, you know, you got to really be careful, you know, and hear how you move, you know, being a sole Black person, you know, you got to really be careful how you really move. So yeah, and even they got even though it's more Blacks in Omaha, but they still, you know, they're still relegated to a certain area and they're still oppressed there, you know. And it's also goes along with racial segregation, like you know, because even here in the state capital, you know, it was a big history and still is of racial segregation, but they don't want to make it seem like that, but it is, you know. And you know, all this so-called lie about racial diversity here is a hoax, which I've come to see since I've been here, you know. There's nothing really diverse about this place, you know. And because really, you know, like the Black college students that go to school here at the University of Nebraska, basically once they done with their 4-year scholarship degrees or whatever, they got to get the hell out of here and go somewhere else with their degrees. You know, yeah, it's that serious here, you know. And they have, since I've been here, I've seen where even the Black college students here, you know, that go to school there or that have went to school there over the few years since I've been here have been racially threatened with you know, and all kind of stuff, you know, because of they stance of speaking out against racism even on the college campus, you know. And recently, you know, the college campus was trying to set up something like they have been doing around the country to teach about what they call that race theory or whatever. And they was trying to teach that. Theory. Yeah, critical race theory. They was trying to set that up, and the governor, he's so racist here, you know, he didn't want that, you know.
Oh man, that's a big man. That thing is controversial.
Yeah,
that critical race theory. I know some I've been seeing some Black people that have a problem with it.
Oh yeah. So it's yeah, man, and plus you know, this is all straight out so-called Republican conservative state. So you know, and you know, you really it lets you really know where you at. You know what I'm saying? You just and this is why I say that, you know, I don't encourage black people when they traveling. If they do come here, better be very well on their toes and conscious of where they at and what they doing,
Yeah.
Because it's already hard for us in places where we do got bigger numbers at, But
Absolutely.
especially when you come to places like this here, you really better watch your back. You even in some cities like outside of here, like smaller towns, especially if you go further west, like you going out further west, if you go on tour Wyoming or Colorado, towns like that, you better or south or north of here, you might be running in one of them towns where the police got to escort you up out of there.
They got them, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
They got them all over America, man. They got them.
Oh yeah.
We down here in Georgia, boy. So you
I already
got them.
know, brother.
You definitely got them counties you cannot ride through in this bad boy. But that should be all the more incentive for us, like you said, to begin to start to get our own areas, to begin to see how serious it is for us to congregate amongst one another. I'm getting tongue tied. For us to congregate amongst one another,
like
and to really begin to pull our resources.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but like them brothers and sisters down in your state, where you at?
Which ones?
The ones that bought that land, I think in Cumberland, whatever town that was, where they bought that little piece of land, even though that's a little tilly big stuff, because we need a whole state behind us.
Who is it?
That group, remember that the brothers and sisters that purchased.
I may not be hip, man.
They purchased that land down there in middle Georgia somewhere. But it's been controversial, and they trying to set up a haven, a safe haven for us, But of course, that's something. I mean,
I have to look that up. I have to look that up because I know there's a lot of little towns down here in Georgia when you go, around that are damn near, what do they call them? Ghost towns, desolate, or whatever the word I'm looking for. I can't even think, man. It's getting late. So there's a lot of little towns around here that if we just moved into, man, we could easily just really become that town.
Yeah.
It is just that empty, and voting our people in, it would be nothing for everything from sheriff to dog catcher.
And I think in certain, that's why we concentrate on the state of Mississippi, because they got that type of situation going on down there, and also too, in Alabama, and I mean, man, because I mean, let's think about it, man. In these states, really ain't nobody paying attention to these states like that, especially like Mississippi. I mean, I was just talking earlier with somebody. They say it's so devalued down there that they don't even have an Amtrak train that go through Mississippi. If you want to travel somewhere in that area, you got to go to New Orleans or something,
But all that's by design, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's what. So I don't know if they're not paying attention to it, more or less, that some of them have them the way they want it. When you go to these places, a lot of that is that good old boy shit, and they got big money to keep certain corporations and industry out of those little places, to keep it backwater, to keep it hick. It's just the politics they address, and they use in a lot of those places. They still use a lot of fear tactics to keep Black people from, like we're talking about here, participating in their own politics that could begin to change some things for them. Industry brings jobs and shit like that. It starts to bring certain attention to those counties too, that the backwards racist behavior of these hick crackers can no longer be brushed under the rug or hidden because lack of exposure. So there's, like I said, a lot of these crackers have vested interest in keeping these places as de-industrialized or backwards as possible to control the Negro population. I think it's a great idea that we start going down south in number to put pressure on the political machine. If you have people that believe in political process to that degree, believe that voting or reformism is actually a method or a step. Like I said, I don't knock anyone's participation in what they perceive to be for the advancement of Black people. I encourage them, since I don't necessarily believe that we will find salvation in the current political system. Right. You know, that's not my personal belief. What I do, so brother, though, is I encourage my brothers and sisters who do, you know, and I make sure I get real close to either people running for office or people very active in the process of campaigning for people. And I get in there and I push radicalism. You know, I push them to be completely radical. I get them to question their politics. Well, what is that doing? You know, I get in there and I say, well, what is that doing? What is that doing? How could it do more? How could it do more? And I push them to be as completely radical as they can be within the context of what they're working with.
Right. And see, the thing about it, man, is that we mobilize. We don't need that many people to even start off with mobilizing. Just start off with a few, and the rest will fall right in pocket behind. You see what I'm saying? Because they'll see now that we finally are doing something real tangible, you know, and we'll see that people start recognizing the seriousness of what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And
you know,
then
I'm sorry, go ahead. And then what?
And see, that's what it's all about, because at the end of the day, without having land behind us with a political structure to go with it that would benefit us, you know, as descendants of slaves born in America, I have to say that you know, we're just gonna be completely in the worse and worse situation like we're in now. You know what I'm saying? And because all that marching, protesting, and all that other stuff,
yeah,
we
that
see
ain't
how that panned out.
Yeah, that ain't gonna get it. So that's where we go back when we talk about. I love what you're talking about, that mass migration back down south. However, I would like to add to it and build to it that it has to begin, in my opinion, of course, to take on a more strategic approach. Like we have to identify what particular city in Mississippi, what the municipality, what that local municipality looks like, what the economic situation is, meaning what employment is down there to be had. And if we're making big moves like that, any big move, you need your financial backers, you need your economics to grow. So we need to look at what potential for the entrepreneurial spirit, and not entrepreneur in the sense of individual capitalist participation, but collective participation, meaning what industry can we bring down there as a people? You know what I'm saying? Well,
it's definitely gonna take take money. Don't nothing in this world at this time
not take money. Well, what I mean by that is not just take the money, but is there money down there to be good? What, like, we're gonna want to transplant our businesses down there. You dig?
Right.
Do we have, what is it? Does it have what we need? Like, you know, when we start going down there, does it already have a little customer base and we bring the rest of the customer base? Does it provide for some people to have, you know, upper echelon jobs down there to be able to fuel a Black economy? You know what I'm saying? We don't, you know, unless we're looking to go down there. Now, that's another strategy. We can all go down there and crash the motherfucking system. We can go down there and apply for every state, for every funds, everything that we can get from the state. We can crash the motherfucking system and see what that brings. I mean, what I'm saying is I don't have any one strategy, but I think that we at least should start to develop a strategy, and that it be comprehensive. I don't know. I hadn't had a chance to talk to Snup Nup. Maybe that's a good segue to invite him to the show and really be able to hear it out, because it's interesting. I see it as potential.
Well, I would say that we need to get with Brother Snup 7 and you know, just set up a main topic to where we could really talk about this.
Absolutely.
You know, without interruption.
Yeah,
where
like
we
we're
could
doing
really
now.
talk about that. Yeah, where we could really talk about this and get this out to the people, you know. And I'm going to address him. I'm gonna address this with him when I get a chance, you know, because that would be definitely a good idea. Yeah, that would definitely be a good idea, you know, because you know, but the thing about it is that I really see that we need to get to that point right now, because you know, we're not gonna get up and done depending waiting on Washington. We're not gonna get up and done at all, you know. I mean, we steady out here getting slaughtered by these race soldiers, and you know, and the whole nine, and they other you know, sub soldiers, you know, like them fools that tried to take over the he tried to take over the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we definitely got to start preparing ourselves right now, you know, because I mean, as they're fighting amongst themselves, we'll be in a position to elevate ourselves. So once they turn around after they done in-house fighting with each other and see where we at, they gonna see that it's hard to penetrate what we got going on.
Yeah.
And that's what the point we need to get to right now. As a people, you see what I'm saying? Because you know, because other than that, we're on the brink of extermination. You know, I don't, you know, I hate to use that word, but hey, that, I mean, if you look at what's going, if people look at what's going on and see where we at now, I mean, we see the direction why younger generation is going at, you know, and I mean, if we take control of a state or a couple of states, of course, we can eventually address those problems. You know, we could address the police brutality, we could address the redlining, we could address the mass incarceration, we could address the drug addiction problems. You know, and other elements that's unnatural among us as a people in our community. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We could address all that. You know, but we got to get a state behind us, because, you know, as long as we right up under the races trying to do it, it ain't gonna work.
Man, you better believe that.
I mean, we tried it even with the Black Panthers and other organizations that were sincere about trying, the Black Liberation Army. Look how they got hijacked. Just look at how the Black Lives Matter movement got hijacked. And that's just very recent. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I was just looking at something on one of them channels where they was talking about the people that started the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, when they got them 10 billion or $10 million from one of them white corporations, whoever donated it, and they took that damn money and went up to Canada and bought mansion property and all that kind of stuff. Yes, and now they being investigated. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, you know, but hey, this is what you get when you allow other people who don't have our you know, best interests to hijack our movements, you know. So you know, we need to start paying attention.
That's it. Bottom line, and exactly, like you said, they will hijack your movement.
Yeah, and stuff, and you know, I mean, I have to say also too that I mean, man, the organization I once belonged to, I don't want to get into the thing because I don't want to offend nobody here on social media for a certain situation go. But man, even though Dr. Malachi Z. York was who he was, and which is why he is where he is now. But I'm gonna have to say this: that organization has became more. I tell you what, it's more. It's nothing conscious about it. The way it sounds to me, it's nothing conscious about it. I just leave it at that. And that land that he got down there in Georgia years ago in Eden, Georgia, that was just so he could use that as a a base to control the people like he really wanted to. Because it was harder for him to do it when he was in New York.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know nothing. You know, I don't know nothing about it. It's everything you said. I'm gonna have to put a disclaimer because I don't know anybody. So I will say this, brother, because I'm not gonna stop you from talking. If somebody from that movement wants to come up here and talk, you know, I'm gonna open the panel because I don't know really anything about.
I just tell you what, do your investigation. Matter of fact, it's a brother named Chuck Morgan. He got a YouTube channel. He's the best. He's considered the best analyzer of that organization.
What's his name?
Was Chuck Morgan. He was also once a member of that organization too, and he had a high, certain type of ranking position in that organization, among them ranks. So. Yeah, but
so he knows some stuff.
He got several videos talking about that. So when you get a chance, go on there. You know, he also got a website too called what is it? Nubian is I'm not gonna I can't pronounce it correctly, so I'm not gonna say it at this time. But just go on his channel. Just go on YouTube and Google Chuck Morgan. And you're gonna see his face, his whole avatar with him wearing glasses, brother, you know. And tap on that and you're gonna see all the videos and you know, and then he's very, and he gives you the way to look at the information and then analyze it for yourself as well, you know?
Okay. I'm gonna have to check that. I'm gonna tell you what, so brother, I'm gonna let her, because like I said, I'm getting lazy and the mind ain't even functioning. I really wouldn't even give you a real, probably engaging conversation. I'm gonna throw one of these, promote my brothers, and I want y'all to check them out there. Panther 48, subscribe, hit the like. You know, I'm promoting all Black, positive, revolutionary thing tonight, man. I'm really just pushing my brothers, Panther 48. But so, brother, you know you're always welcome, man. You can hang on. I'm gonna play the thing. Thank you for jumping on and getting in the conversation with me. But,
before you go, I just want you to know that where I'm at here in Nebraska, you have two brothers who went by the name of the Poindexter brothers, who were former Black Panthers in the Omaha chapter in the 70s. Well, the local prison they got here where I'm at, that's where they at. Still to this day,
Hey, you know what? That's gonna be your homework assignment. Next time we come on, let's rock that for tomorrow. I want you to come on, man. The tribute. I need to start doing a shout out to them OG Panthers. That's gonna be your thing. Since you in Nebraska, you need to rep them Poindexter brothers. And we come on, I'm gonna allow you, if you don't mind, and allow me to allow you to present that to the people, man. Their case to the people. Man, that's what's up.
Because man, and it's not just them. It's many ex-Panthers just like them around the country.
Absolutely.
From that time period that's still languishing in these penitentiaries, you know?
Absolutely. And we got to draw attention to them, man. We got to draw attention to that. I appreciate you for coming on, drawing attention just briefly to the Poindexter brothers. Like I said, man, we're going to have you back on I'm not gonna go into it. People in the chat, my few people ride with me. We're gonna put another film on, man, so I can lay back, ride out with y'all, and don't have to really fire the brain off and try to engage you guys in engaging conversation. So,
well,
brother,
definitely,
again,
thank you, brother.
Hey, man, thank you, man. So we'll build tomorrow, black man.
All right, peace.
Peace. Let me see what I can do for the people, man. And I appreciate my brother, Soul Brother, coming on. Let's see if we. All right, this is a little something. Like I said, put a little something. Sharing with my people, man. Panther 48. If you haven't subscribed to their channel, subscribe and like. It's gonna give you that Panther history. We're rocking out on that Panther history tonight. And some brothers that was from there. This is from a roundtable discussion that I was invited on. Yeah.
Last week we built on the perceptions of leadership as opposed to true leadership. And we built on a few principles. We had some guests, Chairman Yanga and Krumah from the People's Black Panther Party headquartered out of Atlanta. And we had Brother Darkside, a original member of the Dallas chapter of the New Black Panther Party. And we talked about some great issues. If you missed that, then go check the video out, part 1. This will be part 2, and we're going to continue on where we left off. How you brothers doing? Y'all doing all right this evening?
Yes, sir. Yeah, how about all the people? We good.
All right, since nobody ever actually said, and I wish.
Hold on, you know what? Let me try to go to part 1. Let's see if I can do that. Try to give y'all part 1 of this. Just bear with me. I'm gonna do that to y'all. Make y'all go through all this with me. All right, fam. Almost a second slow. There we go. See, like I said, man, just trying to do a little something. Not too much. Give y'all a little something. to ride out to. Panther 48, subscribe and like. Sister 93GP, subscribe and like. I need to go there and see if, but I'm gonna let her play the clips first. We had the opportunity to hang out in Atlanta, man. That was cool. Catch up with some people. Kenwardo, shouts out to Rebel Round Table. Check them out. Definitely check them out. I see Atlanta coming back up on the thing. You know, Atlanta being back active is always good to see that. And like I said, just to be back and just to be back and get up with people you hadn't seen in a minute and hadn't hung out, you know, all the trying to build for our people and do this for our people. That travel really takes a toll, and you forget how much you miss home and the people that you've started in the movement with. So it's always good to see them. So that was did I just play that one? I don't know if that's the first one versus what a real deceptions of leadership. Always good to see our people, especially my day ones. I take that, you know, I take that serious from the type of work we do. Even if this ain't the first one, may start from part 2. Especially with the type of work we do. Yeah, we'll start off right here. Win, lose, or draw. Let's see what this is. No, this is part 2. Damn, I want part 2. Now, so we'll see what going back out tomorrow, Wednesday. All right, this is the first one. So let's play this joint. I mean, damn, Wednesday. I told you I was sleepy, man. Y'all just ride with me. I'm trying to just getting used to rocking my channel. At the same time, I want to rock it with people that's going to bring you something, you know, just basically what I'm about, what we're about, what we're trying to bring. So with that, man, let's rock this. This is a video. There again, Panther 48. Subscribe and like to their channel. Some brothers bringing that Panther history, you know what I'm saying, and perspectives from it. I think we got it. So I'm gonna sit back, let you guys check it out. Tell me what you think. You know. All right.
That's somebody else. Okay, that's young.
As national chairman.
Okay.
He had technical difficulties, but we on stream. We on live now, y'all.
Right on.
Yeah, we live. All right.
Who this?
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta switch over. All right. So he had technical difficulties, so we're not gonna have him. I really wish Darkside would bring a video in and change that name to Darkside. So
see, there you go. I just asked, did I have a choice,
okay,
brother?
There's old E right there. No, you ain't got a choice. I don't know why War told you that.
Okay, then I mean that's all had to be said, right?
This is the first time that the Panther 48 is going live. So we're coming at you live now, and we're gonna introduce this round table and this discussion that we're about to have. We're gonna discuss leadership and from the perspectives of people's perception on leadership and what true and real beneficial leadership in the community actually is. But first, I'm gonna introduce you to all the brothers. We got brother Robert Ward, calling out of San Diego, representing the People's Black Panther Party.
Yeah, I'm going in. I'm about to stop this in the middle stream.
Chief of Staff.
I just got.
The San Diego chapter of the Black Panther Party.
We'll come back to this. Let me go to my point. Let's see if we can pull this up. Yeah, bear with me, man. We rocking out, man. We rolling, we riding. Shit, let's do it. Let's ride out. Let's rock out. Let's see. This is your man. Hold on. Is that me? Oh man, what? Oh, what's cracking? I'm gonna end the broadcast.